Cinema of Attractions, created by a man called Tom Gunning, describes early cinema that prioritized spectacle, visual novelty, and direct audience address over narrative immersion. The simplicity of the Lumiere brothers' films is central to their function as cinema of attractions. By stripping cinema down to a single image in motion, these films foreground the medium's technological novelty and sensory appeal. In doing so, they establish a foundational model of cinema as a spectacle. Part 1. Spectacle over narrative. In films such as Face Off, for example, the film structure reflects an attraction-based logic. Rather than a tightly unified narrative, Face Off unfolds as a chain of spectacular sequences, each escalating in intensity. The police riot, the boat chase, and the church shootout operate as a standalone attraction, designed for immediate sensory impact rather than narrative necessity.
His face.
Now moving towards a more modern film, unlike Face Off, in Marty Supreme, Marty Reisman's skill, charisma, and physicality, turning table tennis matches into performative events. The scenes function more as attractions in themselves. The camera lingers on the speed, rhythm, sweat, and motion, inviting the audience to marvel at the act, rather than simply follow the plot progression. This recalls early actuality films, where movement and physical action were the primary source of fascination.
You think it's that simple? Yeah, I do.
Part 2. Digital effects as modern attractions. Early cinema showcased new technology, motion itself, stop motion, superimposition. Post-1990 films do the same with CGI and digital spectacle. Keeping Con Air as a key example, the film also foregrounds technological attraction. The face-swapping procedure is presented as a visually spectacular set-piece, echoing early cinema's fascination with new technologies. The audience is encouraged to marvel at the process itself, not the scientific credibility paralleling early viewers' fascination with the cinema tricks such as stop motion and superimposition. Moving on to another film, Mad Max Fury Road famously uses practical effects. Digital effects enhance and intensify them, making them attractions in their own right. Vast digital desert landscapes exaggerate scale and isolation. Digital compositioning heightens explosions, dust storms, and collisions, and the sandstorm sequence becomes a pure audiovisual assault. Lighting, colour, sound, and motion overwhelm narrative comprehension. These moments pause narrative absorption and instead demand sensory attention. If we take a look at Kristen Whistle's spectacular digital effects, they state that not only has the scale of vertical setting expanded exponentially with the development of CGI, but so have the stakes. Frequently, a struggle for the survival of the entire city or humanity itself is played out along spatial coordinates of extreme highs and lows. This quote highlights how the visual spectacle and sensory thrill of images plays a defining role in how films are experienced and made. This also showcases how early cinema's attractions emphasized display, movement, and spectacle over narrative continuity. Whistle shows how CGI extends this tradition. The spectacular vertical imagery in blockbuster films continues to prioritize astonishing visual experience as a driving force in filmmaking. Part 3. Direct address and self-awareness. Cinema of attractions often acknowledge the audience rather than hiding the apparatus. This contrasts with classic Hollywood's invisible style and aligns with attraction-based showcases. Face Off frequently acknowledges the audience through its operatic tone and hyper-stylized violence. Wu's slow-motion, symmetrical compositions and recurring motifs, doves, mirrors, and religious imagery resist the invisible style of classic Hollywood and instead exhibit the act of filmmaking itself, a core feature of the cinema of attractions. Looking at Wanda Straubern in an introduction to an attractive concept, the cinema of attractions reloaded. They feel that The Matrix, for instance, can be conceived as a reloaded form of cinema of attractions in that it is dedicated to presenting discontinuous visual attractions, moments of spectacle, rather than narrative. This helps showcase that the cinema of attractions is identified as a structural strategy in the contemporary Hollywood blockbusters post-1990. The Matrix uses direct address and self-awareness as features of cinema attractions by openly acknowledging its status as a constructed spectacle. Through themes of simulation, moments of technological display like bullet time, and dialogue that directly implicates the spectator, the film disrupts narrative immersion in favor of exhibitionist confrontation. In doing so, it revives the cinema of attractions within a contemporary blockbuster film. To conclude, We know that cinema of attractions will always be prevalent in filmmaking as an industry tactic and a filmmaking technique, and we've explored this by showcasing how early cinema would display movement and novelty as its main focus. Face Off showcased technological and action spectacle, My Supreme showcases performance, energy and embodied display, and many more. The list goes on. All three prioritize experience over immersion, reminding the audience that cinema is something to be watched, felt, and admired.